What is going on, everybody? It is Alex coming back at you with another video, and today we're going to be taking a quick look at PFF's brand new big board top 50 players in the NFL draft. And guess what? I am revealing my big board at the same time. I thought it'd be a pretty cool little convergence of the two. Obviously, we might start introducing this to the mock drafts as well. It is a huge trade day. We'll talk about TJ Hawkinson actually in just a second as well. He literally got traded 2 minutes ago, so trust me, we're going to have a mock draft by the end of the trade deadline because I think that is awesome and it's really fun. But regardless, let's kick right into this. If you guys are new, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. It'd be awesome to have you here again. You know the YouTube stuff. Discord down below. We're going to be trying to fit in that fan mock draft. The times have been kind of crazy. I'm talking to the Dallas Cowboys pretty soon. Maybe something comes of that. We'll see. Let's get right into the video, though. Starting off with the number 1 overall player on the big board for the PFF. I was about to say the PFF community, but, you know, for PFF, they have Bryce Young. And obviously, you guys can see my first 18. And, you know, sorry, no spoiler alerts right there. I didn't want to make it so large that you, like, pretty much having a brain aneurysm every time we look at a new player. But obviously, you see Bryce Young on mine is about rank number 3, and that's a pretty close rank. Again, I value edge rushers very highly. I think these guys are studs, so it really doesn't matter that much. But let's roll right into it. Again, like, Bryce Young is awesome. I'm a huge fan of him. I do think that he is one of the best players in the class. Again, you guys see it on my big board. It's weird knowing that my big board is right in front of you, so I can't really explain it, but Bryce Young, he just shows that mental processing that not many quarterbacks really have at that level. And unlike Tua, unlike Mac Jones, and again, Tua's been going off, so I can't really disrespect him, but you get to see what Bryce Young does in tough situations. He's not the guy where, like, Tua obviously came in and won the championship by bailing out Jalen Hurts. But you see Bryce Young, he has to take it upon himself in these tough situations, in these close games where we didn't really get to see that situational football with the other two. And glad to say that Tua is starting to really come out of his shell. But, you know, Bryce Young, in terms of his injury status as well as health, those are really the only two major concerns. I just put up a quarterback video. I'll probably try to put a link in the description for sure, but I'll try to put a little title card there for you guys because I think that'd be kind of fun. I haven't done that in a hot minute, and it'll be kind of cool to link back videos there. And then you got Will Anderson at number 2. Obviously, I have him at number 2, so we have him the exact same. Obviously, he is a very special level of talent. I think he's great. I really do. He has some inconsistencies, and I just finished my edge rushers graphics last night. We'll be having that come out probably tomorrow. It's going to be a very, very heavy video season. Trust me, it's going to be a lot of stuff going on. So stick around because it's a lot of really good content, and it takes a lot of work. So I do appreciate you guys for showing me the love that you always do. But yeah, Will Anderson, apart from his frame, like, because he's not going to be able to fit into, like, you know that he has a specific role in the NFL. There's not really much wrong with him. Like, sometimes he takes plays off, but we're even seeing with Kayvon Thibodeau that, you know, once you get to the NFL, once you get to the big leagues, sometimes those guys just turn off that, you know, I'm going to take some plays off, and they just go full power, and we love it. We do. We'd love to see it, and Will Anderson has shown that ability to just take it up another notch. Now, Will Levis, number 3. I have him at number 27. I'm not going to spoil my board. Sorry, y'all. I have him in my top 50, and I don't think he's close to number 3, and I've like risen exponentially on Will Levis. I originally had him probably in the 70s. I didn't not like him at all, and I just remember seeing, like, I even messaged Broshmo this. It was like, I saw him pop off. I was like, woo, like, wow, this guy looks much improved. And over the game, you see these decisions, you see these throws, and it really does, like, make you worry. It's like, why are you doing that? Like, what is going on inside your head that would cause you to want to throw that ball, to cause you to just not want to throw a certain ball, right? Like, there's just misreads, there is poor reads, and sometimes I just genuinely get concerned. Now, a lot of times, I love his leadership. He's great, but you got to watch out the amount of times your throwing shoulder takes a hit by lowering your shoulder. It does shorten your NFL career, and you've seen guys like Josh Allen have also kind of reduced that. A lot of these quarterbacks saying, damn, well, every time I run into a guy, it's shortening the amount of throws I can make in the long run. So I am a little bit concerned about that, but, you know, Will Levis is a very good player. You see the upside there's just a lot of stuff that is legitimately concerning, and I'm glad to say he's taken a step up this year, because if it were based on last year, I would not draft him in the first 2 rounds at least. I would. It wouldn't make sense. Guy did not beat out even Sean Clifford, and he also didn't really have that many big-time throws last year, and he throws a lot of picks. He has a big issue in terms of turnover-worthy plays, so I am genuinely concerned. CJ Stroud, obviously, you guys actually see him on my board. People think I hate him. I'm just a critical guy. I like to point out flaws in people that only point out the positives, right? And that's perfectly fine. Again, we all know that CJ has a big arm. He's been able to operate a very high-level offense. Is that offense translatable? That's the big question, because we've seen 2 quarterbacks come into the NFL. And again, rest in peace, Dwayne Haskins. God rest his soul. But we've seen those guys not be able to take that immediate step. And again, I hope Justin Fields takes it, because I had a lot of faith in him. But it's alarming. It is, because Justin Fields was essentially as good as CJ Stroud with, in my opinion, probably worse weapons. And, I mean, it's honestly not that much of a debate. Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably the best weapon that either of them would ever use. And you had Garrett Wilson in there, and you had Chris Olave, and you had Jackson Smith-Njigba, and you have Fleming, and you have Ibuka. Ridiculous amount of weapons there for CJ. And the fact that he hasn't been able to just fully put it together and just take it up another notch is a legitimate concern. And I'm not going to put my name on it and say CJ's a franchise quarterback. A lot of people will. I'm not. So there are issues with CJ. I don't think he's a top 3 player. I don't think he's a top 4 player. I don't think he's a top 10 player in the class. And the inconsistencies surely are an alarming, something that's ringing an alarm bell for me. But he's a lot better, in my opinion, than what the haters say he is. Jalen Carter, again, so where's he on my board? Number 5. So we're on the exact same train right here. Jalen Carter, he is an absolute freak. He's a stud. I'm such a huge fan of him. Obviously, we'll go over my board for the players who aren't mentioned, because obviously that's kind of the point. But Jalen Carter, he is a really special talent. You obviously see that there's a big drop-off. I do not care what the hell they say about Brian Breesy. He is not even close to the 6th best player in the class. Just, I'm going to be completely honest. Talking about him being at 6'5", like, whoop-de-doo, buddy. But regardless, Jalen Carter by far is the best interior defensive lineman in the class. Again, I've been a lot higher on Brian Breesy as well. Inconsistencies, injuries, whatever, not great. Regardless, Jalen Carter, one-of-one type of unicorn player. I think that deserves a lot of respect. I'm not someone to put defensive interior players very high, but Jalen Carter is someone who could definitely change that, and he already has in my mind. He really is a freak of a player. Brian Breesy, you will see him, if I'm not mistaken, in this list, so we'll mention him when we go back over it. But again, this is probably one of the most overrated players in the draft. He just simply is not that good. He has injury issues. He has consistency issues. There's points where he's not trying the whole time, and there's times where he's getting outclassed by at least 3 other players who are standing right next to him. I don't understand. I don't. And again, I have him in my top 50. It's not like I think he's a scrub, but this love for him in the top 10 is ridiculous. So, again, hold your horses on this Brian Breesy kid. I really do want to say that. And, like, I don't know. I think we need to pause when trying to say stuff like that online. But regardless, he just doesn't bring that type of upside. It's a low-value position, and the guy's been hurt. The guy hasn't even outperformed Tyler Davis at points. And I like Tyler Davis, so I guess it's more of a tip of the cap to Tyler Davis than anything. There's no way in hell I would put him at number 6. Peter Skoronski, obviously, where do I have him? I have him at number 11. So Peter Skoronski, obviously, big fan of him. He's taken a big step up, put on, I believe, 20 pounds in the offseason, and he still looks great. So I'm a big fan, huge fan of him. Number 8, Myles Murphy, my number 1 player in the class. He's just such a monster. He's so technically smooth. He had a slow start to the year, which is a legitimate concern, but he turned it back on. And I love it. And look at this, 92.1 grade for his career. Like, again, in the run game, that's where I gave him. He's graded out as the best graded edge defender I've ever seen. Like, in terms of the run, he's the best run defender I've ever graded. So I do think this guy is just on another level, and I'm glad to see that. The PFF grade reflects that. Then you got Quentin Johnston, also in my top 10. his game. So it says 215 pounds here. I have him listed at like 201. Regardless, he carries his weight very well. And he moves super fluidly for a man who is of that size, of that stature. So, I mean, look at that. 40 missed tackles on 89 career receptions. He's gotten better at that too. Looks super fluid. I'm a huge fan of what he has become. Now, let's pause before putting a Deebo Samuel comp on it. That doesn't really, yeah. Okay, good. I was like, wait a second. So they're talking about him like pretty much producing like a Deebo Samuel, not like his build. So, hallelujah. Nolan Smith, no. So I like Nolan Smith as a person and as a locker room guy. Huge fan. He's a really hard worker. He's one hell of an athlete. This man cannot push an offensive lineman if he gets engaged. And simply put, the NFL, the talent continues to go up. So if one offensive lineman puts his hands on you and you're pretty much toast, I am not ready to crown you as a top dude. Now, my opinion can change. It's obviously not set in stone yet. We haven't seen all the tape yet. But let's just say he did not make it into the top 12. I don't know where he landed on my list, but there's just, like, he's a great athlete. But when you just see him get totally taken out of a play, I just can't put my name on that. I can't. You have to be effective in all phases of the game. And I do not care. So I was just hyping up the fact that the grade was like all good and dandy, but I'm sorry, he's ineffective versus like actually disengaging from blocks. So I just don't like a guy who you can only beat a defender beat a lineman by kind of not being touched by him. Don't really think that's a possible thing in the NFL. Tyree Wilson, I've become a much bigger fan of him. And the problem is you guys will see my edge rankings and they'll be like, why is he that low? It's not that he's low. He's really damn good. This class is just stacked. It really is. Corner and edge rusher, man, I'm telling you, it's another class where it's just totally loaded. It's a better edge class than it was last year. And I was a big fan of it last year. I thought Broshma was bullshitting me when he originally said, like, dude, this class is going to be even better. But he's right. Tyree Wilson definitely brings it all to the table. And, he's 6'6". He's a big-ass dude. You see him on the field. He's a physical freak. But he did not make it into my top 50, unfortunately. He's just outside. When I mean, like, just outside, like 51. Like, this guy, he's an incredible player. Big fan of Tyree Wilson. Cam Smith out of South Carolina. He is probably going to be around, like, my 40s. He's a good player. He's a really good player. But I'm not 100% sold on him being, like, that elite level talent. Again, I haven't reevaluated corners yet. I watch them. And also, you really have to wait for a lot of all 22 to come out to fully reevaluate. And let's just say people who are supplying that are not doing a very good job at keeping it up to date. So before I start kissing ass or like kind of roasting players, I'm just going to take my foot off the gas pedal a little bit. I see what's happening, but I really want to see the intricacies of the game, which I think is one of my strong suits for evaluating corners. Michael Mayer, we need to stop. Okay, he's a tight end that probably is going to run 4.7, 4.8. And he has great blocking skills. He's really good after the catch. But this man is probably going to be contested catching every ball that he takes. There's no way in hell he's worth the top 13 pick. And I know Mike Renner is probably the one who put him up here because he's a Notre Dame guy, but let's just say he did not make it into my top 50. I don't really value the tight end position at all, so I'm a little bit biased in that aspect. Jordan Addison out of USC, obviously, Jordan Addison is at number 12 on my board. Big fan of Jordan. He's a really good player. Makes the game look easy. Makes it look natural. So, again, really good player. Keely Ringo, another player. He is in this, right? So if you guys see me looking over here, obviously my big board's right over here. Keely Ringo, yeah, he's number 17 for me. He's a really damn good player. Good against the run. Good in the press. He's very well built for the NFL, and he has room to grow too. So there's a lot to love about Keely Ringo. I'm a big fan. Brian Branch is next, and we are going to start scrolling down so you guys can see the rest. Well, actually, we'll address my top 17 or top 18 after this. But Brian Branch, another really highly athletic player. He's going to be seen very soon on my big board. He's in my 20s, so, he does have some plays where it's like, come on, there's some weird head-scratching plays for him for sure. And that's why I can't put him in my top 20 just yet. But him as an athlete and his potential, absolutely. I'm perfectly fine taking him in the top 20. I just don't think he's a top 20 player in the class. And then you got Tanner McKee here. I think he's probably in the 40s, but he'll be later featured in this. I don't really have that type of confidence in him in terms of being able to uplift an NFL roster. There's just certain guys where it's kind of difficult to say that a team's going to genuinely have a shot at the Super Bowl when they're kind of capped by their quarterback's abilities. Tanner McKee's a good player. I don't think he can win a Super Bowl. I could be totally wrong, but he's a really damn good player. I'm pretty sure he beat cancer at 16 years old. That's something that I am extremely happy to see. This is somebody where, honestly, I need to move him up in my rankings because I didn't adjust this before yesterday. So Paris Johnson, he needs to move up. He's going to definitely be featured, but he needs to move up. Like, I haven't done my offensive line re-evals just yet. So again, this is why I'm saying this is not official, but at the moment it is. Paris Johnson's done a very good job. He looks very comfortable. I want to show him some love there. Let's look at my top 18. Let's see who has not been talked about yet. I haven't seen the rest of this yet. We obviously saw it in some aspect in terms of the mock draft yesterday, so check that out. But Myles Murphy, obviously, let's see, Joey Porter. Got to talk about him because I don't know if he was featured. I think he was featured in the PFF top 50. We'll talk about him a little more then. But obviously, I had him as my number 2 corner starting out the year. Guy's a monster. He's probably the best guy versus the run in the entire college football cornerback realm. And then he has great size. He's super athletic. He has amazing field awareness, and he's improved his man coverage as well. So overall, I think that he's a phenomenal player. I said he's like Sauce Gardner, but more suited towards a zone scheme. So Eagles, I think the Steelers would be a great fit as well. He obviously can play man. It's not like he's like a bum in man coverage. I just said he improved too. So I think that this guy's going to be a stud. He's now my number 1 corner. Jalen Jones fell off a little bit. I know Jalen Jones is going to be at number 20. I'm 90% sure because of the mock draft, because I made a big deal about it. But regardless, that's the next guy. Okay, no, we'll talk about Isaiah McGuire first. This guy's not going to be featured in this. But my God, I'm putting my name on it. This guy is pretty much Tyree Wilson / he's the in-between Tyree Wilson and Myles Murphy, and a little bit closer to Myles Murphy. This guy graded out, I think, just as good as George Karlaftis, and I was a huge fan of Karlaftis, but I think he's better. I really do. Like, there's just so much upside. You see him pop off. Here's the thing that I love about Isaiah McGuire. So, first off, he popped off to me without me even watching him. It wasn't like, okay, let me watch Isaiah McGuire and then I'll do like I see that he's like listed here. I had no idea who the hell this guy was. I watched the Georgia versus Missouri game and I was like, hey, I'll just take some peek at some reps for Broderick Jones because I love Broderick Jones. And we'll talk about Broderick in a second. And I was like, who the hell is this number 9 guy? He made Broderick look like he was just out of his own. He was out of his depth, man. Like, straight up awesome. Huge fan of this player. Isaiah McGuire is just super well balanced as well. You guys will see the video when it comes out tomorrow. I'm putting my name on it. This guy's going to be a star defender in the NFL. I thought about it with Sam Williams. I put him up there. I'm pretty damn confident that Isaiah McGuire will also be in that realm. I'm very confident that he at least will be starting for a roster come probably next August. So whenever the season starts. I swear to God, this guy's a freak. He reminds me so much of Myles Murphy. Just watch him, enjoy it. I watched it on the Discord with my Discord peeps. So again, join that because I'm going to be doing that way more often. It's really fun late at night. You got nothing to do. Just pop on. There's going to be a chance that I'm going to be on there watching it anyways. I'll @ everybody so you'll get a notification too. Just don't miss out because it's really fun just to watch with you guys. It's like, okay, well, let me know what you guys think when you guys get to hear me spew a bunch of crap in the moment. Other players, Javon Foster. He's not going to be featured in this. And I understand why. He has some bad reps. And, I mean, I talk about other players like CJ Stroud having bad reps, and I knock him for it. To be fair, they're like, 6 spots apart? Whoop-de-doo. But Javon Foster, his athleticism's off the charts. He's progressed throughout the season as well, which is something I'm a very big fan of. I'm a huge fan of players. Like, that's why I really loved Evan Neal. He started out really bad. And he started out this year a very similar manner. But you saw throughout his first year starting as a right tackle, that progression was exponential, and I love to see that. I've seen that with Javon Foster, especially versus Georgia. There is some special talent to this kid, and he has some flaws to deal with, But the fact is, he already has a run game down, and he's improving in his pass pro. That, to me, is totally worth sending a pick in, especially in the top 10, top 15, when offensive line is kind of a premium position at this point. There's not many really good guys, especially the ones that can stay healthy in the NFL. Garrett Williams, another really awesome player. I think he's in the 40s for PFF. Dude's super versatile, can play safety as well if he wants to. I love him. Antonio Johnson, the Swiss Army knife himself. We'll talk about him soon, but again, a really good player. Then you got Will McDonald. I love him as well. He's also, I think, in the 40s for PFF. I feel like he's Kayvon Thibodeau, maybe 90% of it, and that's totally worth sending a top 15 pick in, especially since you've seen how KT's been able to play. And then Broderick Jones, which I'm sure we'll talk about very soon, a very talented tackle. Again, I knocked him because of his play versus Isaiah McGuire. Let's scroll down, and sorry for your eyes in case. We'll talk about it. So it's Andrew Voorhees. That's at pick number 19, or at player number 19. So we'll scroll down here, and we'll just one-to-one it here. Andre Carter, funnily enough, is one spot off. Obviously, I have Andrew Voorhees, who I'm a huge fan of. I know that they have him in here. We'll talk about him more then. Jalen Jones, love him. Big fan. So I said we're going to talk about him soon. That's why I left it for this. I was just a huge fan of his field awareness. You could see him process plays that were going on behind him. Similar to the way I felt about Elijah Molden, I feel very confidently that Jalen Jones is an extremely smart player and can bring that awareness, that football IQ to the NFL, and he can just totally start for a team. He has great size. He's great in press. He has some issues here and there, but he's been dealing with it because he's had an ankle injury starting out the year. And especially at a position where you have to react rather than, act, that's a little bit more tough for you to actually be able to do that at a high level. So he let up like 6 yards over a span of 3 games on 1 reception. He is locked down. And it's not like he's a bum. He's starting versus the number 1 or number 2 wide receiver. Like, he is going head-to-head versus some studs. Jared Verse, obviously, you've already seen that he's in my top 10. Really damn good edge defender out of Florida State. He's had some injuries, so there's some... I don't disrespect this pick number 21, or this spot number 21. It makes sense. He does have some flashes. He has some inconsistencies. You guys will see my breakdown tomorrow. Bijan Robinson, the only running back. You guys can see where Bijan is actually on my board at pick number 39. But Bijan certainly is a really talented running back. I don't think that you can put him this high up because I know he's the only running back in the top 50. I don't think he's that much of a margin above Jahmyr Gibbs, above Blake Corum. But he's certainly super special. You see some of these plays like, what the hell is going on? Big fan of him. Felix Anudike-Uzomah. Oh, okay, so I fucked up. He needs to be up in here. If I'm not mistaken, I would place him... I'm going to place him probably around 13, so we'll give him a shout-out. You guys are going to get a top 51. So I forgot to update this after I did my edge rankings, so RIP to that. Regardless, so I'll leave it right there. Regardless, Felix Anudike-Uzomah is an absolute stud. So I wrote this in my scouting report. I said I need to make a video apologizing about my feelings towards him. And it's not because I was wrong. Last year, he really wasn't that special. You see his game, it's like, it's kind of lackluster. He doesn't have that X factor. He doesn't have that athleticism. He's improved his athleticism. I am a huge fan of players who actually work their ass off and improve themselves. I did that with Jordan Davis. I did not like him during the year. Saw him during the combine. You could see he put a lot of work in. He had less fat on his face. He performed incredibly, obviously. Like, the guy certainly put the work in. That's why I boosted him up, and that's why he's looking great, because you can see that internal fire, that mentality, that ambition. So, same thing with Felix. He looks absolutely incredible. I'm a huge fan. I have him graded, I think, 79 out of 100, and that is top 5. Like, he's top 5 edge rusher in the class. I'm a huge fan of Felix Anudike-Uzomah, like, really big fan. He's done a great job, and he's looking like he's going to be a stud, especially at that size 255. Excellent size. He can play pretty much in any scheme as well. Again, I just love it. I love it. Jackson Smith-Njigba, so the people who are trying to rip me a new one, where is he on this? Where's JSN? JSN's at 38. Not that far off. He's probably the 6th best wide receiver over the past 2 years for Ohio State. I just don't know why people think he's the next coming of Jesus. He's probably 4'6", maybe 4'6'5". He got caught up to by a linebacker who tested Brandon Smith at 4'5'3". He got caught up really quickly as well. He separates pretty well, but I would say there's just times where I don't really think his route running is that crisp. He's a very fluid mover, but I just don't see those sharp cuts, and he has great hands, great after the catch. He's just a very limited player, and you have to make sure that the offense is molded towards him. I think that it's perfectly fine to say that he's worth a late first, and I know a lot of people would kill me for that, but it is what it is. Broderick Jones, obviously a really damn good player. I just have my concerns after seeing him kind of be outclassed there by Isaiah McGuire. Antonio Johnson, Texas A&M. Again, Swiss Army knife, big fan of him. Isaiah Foskey, I regraded him. I did again. This is the 5th time. So I do it over and over and over again because I want to see what y'all see. No. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I don't see it at all. I don't. Thanks to Brenton Cox getting kicked out, he is raised up from my number 21 edge rusher to the number 18 in the class. I just don't see it. I don't. I really don't. I see these players who are so much better than him, and I don't see the improvement. So when I don't see upward trends, and again, I gave him some boost here and there, when I don't see legitimate improvement, it shows to me that you're not working on your craft, and that scares the shit out of me. Just to be blunt, it doesn't make me feel comfortable with you. And Isaiah Foskey, at his raw state, has not done that. So I'm sticking my foot down. Again, I was like, okay, well, if I'm regrading edges, I need to make sure I watch this guy over again. He couldn't even come close to an honorable mention. I just don't see it. Trent Simpson, obviously you guys see him in my top 20. Where'd he go? I'm tripping. Oh, there he is. So, yeah, Trent Simpson's a freak. He's a freak athletically. BJ Ojolari, I think I have him at the exact same spot. No, I have him at 30. Really good player as well. We'll go until 39. Anton Harrison, again, another player who I have in a similar range. Had some struggles, especially against Felix Anudike-Uzomah, but he can play left or right tackle. I do like him quite a bit. So he's a good player, really good player, and especially in a league where offensive tackle, again, kind of a premium. Good player to have. Josh Downs, he's going to be somebody who just misses the list, unfortunately. A really good player, though. He is. He's super fluid. I do like him. I just posted a wide receivers video. Check that out. But, again, he's a good player. I just don't think he's a first-round pick. He seems pretty athletically limited in terms of being a smaller body with kind of a single role in mind. Christian Gonzalez is a monster. I have him right here at 25. I think you should put him probably above Tyreek Stevenson again. Haven't done my corner re-evals, but it's looking like it probably should. Osiris Torrance in a similar range at the exact same spot. Big fan of that. He's had some pretty awful reps, but he's also been very consistent besides that. He has one awful rep a game. Kind of feels like, Dallas Goedert has one awful drop a game, but he's a baller for the rest. Osiris Torrance feels very similar, but I think that Andrew Voorhees is a bit better. Joey Porter, we already talked about him. He's a monster. 8 pass breakups, 11 catches. I don't really think that we really need to talk about that. Olu Fashanu did not make the list, but he is getting close. He's a very good player, has a lot of room to grow, but again, he's super young, so I totally can see him being a first-round pick. Clark Phillips, he let up 175 in a recent game, so not exactly fully on board with him, even though I think he is. Okay, no, I moved him a little bit lower. You guys can check out my stock report video to see where these guys are moving to. Siaki Ika definitely is not going to be on here. I just don't think he's athletic enough. But, for the NFL, he gets pressures in college. I don't know if he gets to the passer fast enough in the NFL. But I'm glad to be proven wrong. We'll see. But he definitely, especially versus BYU, did not do too well. Garrett Williams, there we go. Super fluid mover. I am a huge fan of him, especially in man coverage. So, 4 interceptions, 14 career pass breakups. So, love it. He's a really good player. Love him to death. Chris Abrams-Drain. So, there we go, 36. We'll go over again my top 19, or my 19 to 39 in a second, but Chris Abrams-Drain, definitely a phenomenal player. I see a lot of, basically a smaller version of Jalen Pitre in him, so I definitely love it. Other players I got to mention here, Jacoby Windman. I'm putting my name out there. He could totally bust out, but I see some potential. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Micah Parsons, just that super hyper-athletic linebacker who can pass rush. I don't think he has the pass rush there that Micah does, so we'll get off that train, but I think in the right system, he could develop into something maybe like 70%, and that's still God tier. And then next, we also have JL Skinner. He's had some rough games, so he's definitely on a watch for moving down my board. But, 6'4", 220, he's a monster and could probably play linebacker too. I love his ability. Noah Sewell, yeah, this guy needs to probably move out. So you never know. But we'll see about that one. Sam Laporta has been pretty much the entire offense for Iowa. He's a monster. He's my tight end 1. He's the only one that's in, he's surprisingly the only one who's in the top 50. So big fan of him. Gervon Dexter, certainly I understand why he's not listed in the top 40 for them. He has some pretty bad games. He continues to be on watch for stock down, continues being moved down. He just has some ineffective reps. And then Xavier Hutchinson, big fan of him. Obviously made one bad drop versus Texas, but made 6 amazing catches. So I think I'll give him a mulligan on that, even though they didn't win the game because of it. Anthony Richardson, probably the only reason I'm keeping him there is because he's just physically gifted. That's it. It has nothing to do with his actual play because he's playing like absolute crap. But sometimes, you never know. He might have a Geno Smith career arc. He might like sit him for 10 years and he comes out and is like just a straight baller. We'll see. Justin Shorter, ooh, that guy's a beast. Love him. Huge fan of Justin Shorter. And then, yeah, the rest are already listed. Let's continue down and I'll just leave it as is. We'll do it right there. We'll check out the final. So Luke Whippler, I think it's Whippler. I have not scouted him yet. I'm going to be honest. So he's actually next on my scouting. So we'll see about that. Drew Sanders certainly deserves to get some love. I don't think I put him yet into my top 50, but he's right on the outskirts, like really right on the outskirts. Voorhees, love him. I know he's a 6-year senior, but the dude can just start day one. He's awesome. And we'll see if he can come on the show. He gave me his number, so we'll see what happens. But Andrew Voorhees, really good player. He's been consistent year after year after year. I love seeing that because you can plug and play him day one. Kincaid is the entire offense for Utah, so really can't complain about that either. We already talked about Will McDonald. Kalijah Kancey keeps putting up keeps putting up great pass rushing games. So very excited to see him in the top 50, but I'm not there yet. Totally could be though. Keyshawn Butte, I think he's gonna return, but I can totally understand it. Again, a really damn good player. Do I have him in my top 50? Where's he at? I think I moved him out of it because of the fact that he had like a 1 reception for 4 yards. So not too good. So yeah, you see the 6 catches, 115 yards versus Florida. Before that game, 17 catches for 130 yards over the entire season. There's an issue with that. Byron Young, another guy who just did not make it onto the list. I think he's like around like 55. Really damn good player. Really is. And then check out tomorrow. I have him listed. Luke Musgrave, have not studied him yet, but I've heard a lot of love for him, so definitely want to check that out. Hendon Hooker, another player who I honestly should be putting him in here. That's 100% my fault. Again, I've been so focused on being able to do the graphics that Hendon Hooker should be probably around like 35 to 34 range, and I'll probably move Anthony Richardson a little bit lower when all is said and done. Again, mock draft time, probably be a good time to reevaluate that. Hendon Hooker looks good, though. I do like him. He should be in my top 50, and he actually is graded above guys who are in my top 50. So that's on me. I have not looked at Aditamiwa Adebawore. I think I might have actually said that correctly. But 6'2", 280, that's a pretty nice frame. I haven't been able to study him. But guys who I also want to give a shout out to, yeah, again, Paris Johnson needs to move up. Tyler Davis, Brian Breesy, really good duo. I got to show some love to Tyler Davis. This guy's been going off. Big fan of him. Zay Flowers is literally Boston College's the entire offense. Again, check out the video. Eric Gray, Jahmyr Gibbs, Devon A-Chain, Blake Corum, Deuce Vaughn. These guys are studs. Just watch them. Trust me. This running back class is ridiculous. And I can guarantee you that's why they don't have any other running backs on here. Because they're like, damn, you could just wait till the 5th round and probably have 2nd round quality players there. And I totally agree. And that's what kind of sucks is like, I want to show some love to these guys. It's kind of hard to, and there's so many of them at a low value position. John Michael Schmitz was, if I'm not mistaken, not on here, which is a big surprise, because he's like their PFF darling. So very intriguing for me. Seeing other players, there aren't any. So that's going to be the video, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Again, there's some guys I forgot to completely update this as of like yesterday, but this is pretty damn up to date. This is as of the last stock up, stock down video. But let me know what you guys think. Again, I think there's some big misfires on the PFF board. I know there's misfires on mine too. But without further ado, I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you on the far side. Peace.